Dear students, today we will learn about food chain. Food chain means the transfer of energy from plants through a number of consumers is called food chain. That means the transfer of energy from the producer to the number of animals. That means the animals need the food, so they get the energy from the plants, because some of the animals they eat plants as a food, so they get the energy from the plants. So depends on the food the animal take, depending upon the the energy which is transferred from one animal or one consumer to the another consumer. So let's see how the food chain can be represented. Producers, producers means plants. They prepare the food. So energy is present in the plants. So the plants are eaten by the primary consumers. That means the herbivorous plants eating animals, they take the food as a plants. Next is secondary consumers. Secondary consumers are the carnivorous. They eat only flesh. They get the flesh from the primary consumers. Primary consumers are eaten by these carnivorous. Next, tertiary consumers, they are the top carnivorous. These carnivorous take food from the secondary consumers. So finally, the consumers and the producers die, the decomposers act on their bodies and return the nutrients back to the atmosphere. Just look at the example. The producer is grass, primary consumer is deer, secondary consumer is tiger. So this is the food chain. Now the plants which is eaten by the deer, and deer is eaten by the tiger. So this is the one of the food chain. So depending on the food, they get the energy. So the food chain shows the energy pathway. The energy is transferred from one to another, so they can balance in nature. Food chain in grassland. Food chain in grassland. In case of grassland, the grass and other plants, they need the energy, so they get the energy from the sunlight and they prepare the food. So for example, look at the figure. There are some grains, rat, snake and hog. So the grains which is eaten by the rat, rat is eaten by the snake and snake is eaten by the hog. So this is the food chain in the grassland. Next, food chain in aquatic medium. In a aquatic region, that means in the some of the plants and animals, they will be present in the water. They are aquatic medium. So for example, we take in pond, there are number of plants, small plants and animals, and there are some small fish and big fish. So here just look at the example. Weeds. Weeds are eaten by the small fish and small fish is eaten by big fish. So the food chains or the energy which is transferred from the weeds to the small fish to the big fish. So the energy is transferred from weeds to big fish. Food web. Food web means interlinked network of food chains. So you know the food chain. So there are number of food chains, but in there is a interlinked. There is a connection. Or some of the animals they eat only the plants, and some animals they eat only the flesh. So there are some animals they can eat. There are some options like they can eat either any animals. So they are interlinked network of food chains. They are the interlinked network of food chain. So depending upon the food, there is a relationship in the nature. They are not always very simple, as most consumers eat or are eaten by more than one kind of organism. The one of the organism which can be eat or which can be eaten by a number of organisms. The advantage of a food web is the presence of alternate source of food. That means the main advantage of the food web is they can get the food from different sources, so they can survive. The survival rate will increases because they get the food from different sources, so they can survive. Example is, look at the figure. Here there are some plants. So the plants which is eaten by rabbit or cow. So here there is a lion. Like lion can eat rabbit or either cheetah, so or wild cat. So there is an option in the lion. Lion can eat either wild cat or rabbit or cheetah. So the food chains are interlinked network of the food chain. So this is about food web. So the food web consists of a many food chain. In the food web, there are number of food chains will be present. So it